All right, man. I've got the list right here. I've got the list. This is my list. I wrote this list. Took me a while because the last video we did like this was a success. What was it? The top 5 SQL subs from back in the day, top 5 old school subs. This list right here is the top 5 trash subs that people hyped up, man. So let's get into it. Man, before we get started, let me just say, don't come for my head, man. Don't try to knock my head off when you see me. I've experienced these subs. I've either sold these subs, had these subs, heard my friends' cars who had these subs, competed against these subs, whatever, man. I lived through these subs, and I can tell you firsthand, these subs are trash, man. This list right here, we're going to go directly off the list in my order of top 5 trash subs that people hyped up. Number 1 on the list is the MTX Thunder 3000. Man, that sub was cool for what it was back in the day, but people hyped it up like it was something real. It could have been real, but it was just average first system street bass. It wasn't pure trash, but compared to what we had in my other video and compared to what we grew to, it was trash, man. I mean, it was like, I would give my mom demos like, yeah, I got a system. It would be those type of subs where she'd be like, okay, where you would think somebody like your mom's who's never experienced car audio would jump out the car holding her ears. Nah, these type of subs, the MTX Thunder 3000s were like, all right. And, I'm not anti-MTX. My first real amp was a MTX 2160. I believe it was made by Fosgate. I heard rumors that it was. I'm not 100% sure, but it was powerful. It was a monster. Matter of fact, I won my first DB drag competition using that amplifier, but I digress. We're not talking about the amps, we're talking about the subs. The MTX Blue Thunder subs were trash. The MTX T3000s, MTX T5000s, all those Black Series subs were pretty trash. When MTX started moving towards the silver cones, those started to get a little bit better, but these particular subs, straight up trash. The next sub on this list, I know some of y'all gonna come for me on this one, but I'm gonna say it anyway. And don't worry about the sweat. I'm hyped up. Plus, I'm in my car. It's Vegas, and I don't want to run the AC for whatever reason. But anyway, back to these trash subs that people hyped up. Number 4, PPI Pro. What was it? PPI PC Pro 10 or 12. The flat piston PPI subs. Absolute trash. They were SQ subs, but people tried to push them like they were SPL or SQL type subs. They were not street banger subs. They were made for SQ. Even though Alma Gates, legendary, had that Bronco with all those subs, she set some world records, but she needed 64 of them to do it. 64 of these flat piston subs to make a SPL or DB drag world record. But for everyday street bass, they were not it. They looked beefy, they were built sweet, but flat piston subs are just not designed for hard pressure, sound pressure, SPL street banging. They're just not. SQ? Absolutely. They would have did good in that arena, but I never knew anybody to use them for SQ builds. But then again, I wasn't into SQ at the time anyway. But still, those flat piston PPI subs were overhyped, overrated, and I think they only sold for 2 reasons. One legit reason, they were PPI. Everybody loved PPI. I get it. But the second reason is because Alma Gates used them. But again, she needed 64 of them things to do some numbers. So PPI flat piston subs, trash. Number 3 on the list. Y'all could actually come for my head for this one because I don't care, man. This one is straight up trash. I had first-hand experience with these. I sold these subs. I installed these subs, and they never, ever, ever sounded good. I'm talking about the Lanzar. What's the model number? Lanzar DCT12D. It was their district or distinct series. Absolute trash. No matter what we did, sealed box, ported box, infinite baffle, whatever the case was, we just couldn't get those subs to move. I don't know if the X-Max was like 1 millimeter or what, but we couldn't get it to move. And it's not like we didn't have enough power. We were powering these subs with the Lanzar OptiDrive 50C. Anybody knows anything about amplifiers and subwoofers and power from back in the day, that 50C was a beast of an amplifier. And we still couldn't get these subs to move. I don't know if the ones we had were defective, but we kept sending them back. Chances are the shop that we sent them back to would send them right back to us without doing any work, because they always sounded bad, man. No matter what we did, we could never get these subs to sound right or hit hard. They were overrated, hyped up trash, but because they had a big old magnet on them and said Lanzar, and everybody knew about the Lanzar amps, they figured the Lanzar subs were good too. Trash. Number 2, man. On this hyped up list of overrated subs, Pile driver subs. What was the model number? The Pile LW1020/4, 10-inch or 12-inch 4 ohm sub. I think it was like 300, maybe 400 watts RMS. Absolute trash. But because I was brand new to car audio, I didn't know they call them pile drivers. Oh, it's a sub called pile driver. It must pound, pile drive. Just like the earthquake subs. Earthquake subs, pound. Man, overrated, overhyped. And we're not talking about old school overhyped like thump subs. You know, we thought, oh, they thump because the name is thump. Nah, man. Pile drivers were absolute trash. They were Blah Punk level, Jensen level, straight up trash subs, overhyped. But back when I was in school, my boy had a Honda Civic with 2 Pile 12s in them, or 10s, and those wedge boxes with the little tweeters on them. Straight trash, but it was dope to us because, hey, it's a pile driver sub. Pile driver, it's got a pile driver. It's got to be hard. It's got to hit hard. Today, the Morel 9s in my door hit harder than those pile driver 12s or 10s that he had back in the day. Absolute garbage. Yeah, they were dope for us when we had no money. We was on a tight budget, but for people who know better, do better. Absolute garbage. As y'all can see, I'm hyped up and I'm sweating, not just because the Vegas heat, but I'm mad at these cheap subs that we were hyped up on and bought back in the day because we thought they were good. The number 1 worst sub ever made on the market. This sub is absolute garbage. Audiobahn. I don't even have a model number for you. Anything Audiobahn was absolute trash. And before you come from my head, yeah, they had the chrome baskets with the flames on them and they looked cool. Look good don't mean sound good. And I got real first-hand experience. I used to work for the dudes who owned Audiobahn, who made Audiobahn. I wasn't involved in their drug stuff, but I worked for the dudes that installed and owned or created Audiobahn. I installed that stuff firsthand, and every single sub we installed came back blown. I touched every car that we installed Audiobahn in at least 3 times. Absolute garbage. No matter what we did, sealed, we did ported, fiberglass box, infinite baffle, whatever you want, false floor in the back of a car, whatever you want, those subs came back blown. Absolute trash. Anything Audiobahn back in the day and to this day is terrible. So y'all can come for my head if y'all want and argue that Audiobahn was good, but it was not in no way, shape, or form. Those are my top 5 subs that people hyped up from back in the day. If you got something better to add or something different, please do. But I stand on what I'm saying. These subs are trash.